Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Option Menu Crew podcast. And this is episode 50, and probably like we've decided to put the podcast on hiatus indefinitely after this episode. We've got a good amount of the crew members from before here. This is your typical host, Ryan, your crew member, Ryan. With me also, as always, is Ed. How you doing, Ed?
Uh, pretty good.
And then returning for this, we've got Mike. Mike, say hello again.
How's it going, everyone?
And then we've also got Mark with us. Mark, it might be having some technical issues that we thought we figured out, but, you know, as these things go, it wouldn't be a podcast without technical issues. Mark, how you doing? Nope, not yet. So, nope, don't know why. But, so, for episode...
I heard him very faintly. Maybe I heard him very faintly.
No, it's not working. I saw you mute and unmute yourself in Discord, but I didn't see sound-wise. Okay, it's coming back. Oh, yeah. Sometimes restarting Discord is all that it takes. Nope, sound's not coming through. Oh my god. But yeah, so anyways, while Mark's working with that, we decided to kind of put the podcast on hiatus going forward. Who knows if we'll revisit it, but we've had a lot of fun, and I've been very proud of the work we've done. But just with our lives, it's been tough to even do the monthly schedule because dedicating the time to sit down, talk for a bit in like a convenient time, and then having to edit it and upload and all that stuff. It's just getting a bit much for our lives. I mean, considering we were always doing this for fun.
I feel like it began as a COVID project almost, like maybe a little bit before that, but that's when we really like got into gear. And I feel like a lot of people kind of took up their own, new ideas to try when being out socially as much was not as much of an option.
Well, no, the podcast idea actually came up before COVID was even a thing. Like, we recorded in December, and then we just kept trying to figure out. We had a big delay.
COVID-19. It started in December. COVID-19.
It was an in-person one that we did before COVID.
Yeah, that was December. We did it in December, and then it was kept playing hot potato with someone said, "Oh, I was going to edit it. Oh, wait, let me get you the file," and then it never happened, and communication broke down. And then I just said, "Give me the file, give me the stuff, I'll figure it out," and I did it, and we got it going. And then, of course, in the meantime, also we recorded episode 0 and got that up first, which was what me and Mike did with his friend Nate about Super Smash Brothers, speculating on what would happen if that was a total reboot.
Yeah.
And so the hope for the podcast always was, can we just doing topical episodes instead of focusing on the news like every other podcast out there. I wanted to really get into deep discussion about each of the episodes. So, I wanted to get into deep discussion on each episodes about specific topics, and then use relevant news to talk about those. So that's what we did. Me and Ed, I think, have had a lot of fun. Ed, you've been with me for pretty much every episode except episode 0, I think. So, and then a couple of there was ones like Paul and me did the Resident Evil one, so you weren't on those ones. But yeah,
there was an anime game one.
Yeah.
There was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one
Yep.
that I wasn't a part of.
Yeah, that's right. Lawrence, shout out to Lawrence for being on for the anime and fighting games episodes. So Mark is still having technical issues. He is here and will be on as soon as it gets sorted out, which we had to figure it out before. So like always, just a thing that happened there. So this is kind of like a free for all episode. We can talk about news, talk about whatever, reminisce about the previous episodes. Just gonna have some fun for about 90 minutes here. So guys, yeah, Mike, since you haven't been here in a while, tell us how you've been doing in the game with in terms of gaming.
As far as gaming goes, well, I've been like, recently purchasing a house and stuff, so I haven't had.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. I haven't had a ton of time to game, but recently I've been playing the new Lego Star Wars, the complete saga,
Oh, there.
and
Oh, hang on.
oh,
Mark?
Oh,
I heard you.
Almost. Yeah, you're almost there.
I do want to say, Mike,
Oh.
that you buried the lead. You got a Series X now. You're part of the next gen. You're not just playing Lego
Series
Star Wars. You're playing Lego Star Wars on a next gen system or
Yeah.
current gen, but still.
yeah, I did the whole financing to get the Series X back in the spring.
Heck.
Yeah, we both have Game Pass for a while.
Yeah,
Wait,
Game Pass
The Series X or the Series S?
X.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's been pretty good. And then I got the new Pac-Man world, like the remake of the original one,
Mhm.
because I had nostalgia for that. And I played the first 3 worlds, or I think 4 worlds. I still have like 2 more worlds to go. Just been collecting everything in that. Pokemon Legends of Arceus. I beat that. What else did I play this year? I didn't get to play Mario Strikers. I really wanted to play that.
What'd you
but I
think of
didn't get it.
Arceus?
I enjoyed it because it was like different than the. I don't know. I was kind of getting bored of like the formula type Pokemon games, so it was cool to like kind of have like an open world Pokemon game with like a story and stuff. I thought it was fun.
Have you checked out the new information that's been coming out about Scarlet and Violet?
I know it's open world, and I know you can like go in any order, like go to the gyms in different order and stuff like that. But I haven't been like fully up to date on all the news for that.
Okay. From what you've heard, though, are you feeling like you might get one of those games, or do you think you're gonna like wait till the next Legends game?
Oh, I'll probably try it. I always get the main series games. I don't know if that's dumb, but I always keep getting them.
Well, if you don't like them, then yeah, that's a
Yeah.
problem.
You finished Sword and Shield though.
Yeah, I finished Sword and Shield,
Mhm.
but I didn't think it was like that great, but I guess I finished it, so I must have got some enjoyment out of it.
I'd hope.
Oh, Mario Kart, the new DLC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think those new courses are pretty fun. And
Yep.
I did get the Nintendo what is it? The Master Pass?
The expansion pass.
Expansion Pass,
Oh
yeah. So that's how I got to play the Mario Kart courses.
For like 4 N64 games.
Yeah.
They are adding some new ones though, so that's actually pretty cool. What they are adding, but it's just it's too little, too late, and it's such a bad value. By the time Nintendo actually gets around to putting out a new system, there might be maybe enough games to justify it, but it's so sad.
Golden.
They better not start from zero. They better not start from zero again.
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll want everyone to upgrade their Switch, so they'll keep all the games there. I think also with the Nvidia tech, it'd be really hard for them to restart over. Unlike friggin' Sony with the PSVR 2, that's something that sucks that they're doing that. So at first I was like that's stupid, and I think still in principle it's stupid that they're starting over. But based on what I heard on the Giant Bombcast from their sources, they were talking about what they know about the about the like dev kit and engine or the development tools for PSVR 1, and apparently it's very convoluted and hodgepodgey and just not good. So like the work it would take to port stuff over like is a full job. It's not like a very easy transfer over. So it was framed, and actually, Ed, after I mentioned it to you when I was listening to that episode, I re-listened to it, and they were saying that apparently, like, the clean break is much more of a um much is a much better thing overall because they're starting from like a now much more, what was it? They were calling like APIs. Like Sony was using proprietary APIs and now they're using much more market standard APIs for development of the VR games. So it should mean that like PSVR 2 games should carry forward and that like other games that have been created on like the other virtual reality consoles and platforms should be able to come to PlayStation easier. So it sounds like overall it might end up being good, but that does mean that PlayStation is probably going to have you rebuy most of your PSVR games again, unless they do some sort of upgrade path, which I don't know if charging $10 or something like that. I think it's still dumb. We don't know the price of what PSVR 2 is. I'm interested in it because I really want to see what that tech is, but I mean, I know this is pie in the sky, but if that thing's more than $200, I really can't see the point of.
It's gonna be at least 500.
I'm thinking it's going to be like 300 because it's an accessory, but yeah, it's probably going to be like 400 or 500.
It's got a lot of tech in it.
Now,
I don't know about. I don't even have a PS5, but like, it's not even backwards compatible with the original one.
yeah,
I have like games for the original one, so I don't really see why. Or you said, why did you say that they're not able to do that?
because of the development tools for PSVR 1 are just like very custom and bad. So it would be really tough for them to try and like simply get the games ported. It's not easy to port them to the PSVR 2 tech. They need to like be like redeveloped.
I haven't even really used it in a while, the PSVR. Like, I don't even have it hooked up. And yeah, so I don't see myself like getting the next one. Maybe like an Oculus Quest or something like that.
That's the thing. I think like Sony also missed a huge opportunity by not like delaying it a bit further and making that thing like a standalone headset. Now, I will say this that um since Sony is now like putting more of their PlayStation games on PC, I could see them getting the PSVR 2 ready to be usable on PC as well, so they tap into that audience and be able to sell their headset to more people who are that are just gaming on PC and will buy PSVR games there or will buy the headset to play VR games on that. I think there's also, I forget what had it, but I think someone found there was reference to a possible Sony PlayStation launcher coming to PC eventually. So it seems like they might be doing something like that, whether it's, they'll have a storefront so you can buy the PlayStation branded games through them on PC, or they'll just do it so you can link your PlayStation account, link trophies and things like that to like integrate it a bit more. So who knows? We'll see. But that is like the one cool thing Sony's done is that they've committed to putting more PlayStation games on PC. It's really cool that the Spider-Man games got put onto the PC as early as they did. I know Miles Morales isn't out yet, but it's coming up soon. So there's that. But other than that, I'm not trying to like lead into anything else. But yeah, Sony's bitching about Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Well, really, they're bitching about Call of Duty, of Microsoft having control of Call of Duty. But Sony has been paying for exclusivity for their games, so they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth with that. So it's really dumb.
But Microsoft did in the 360 era all the time. Like they had all the exclusive COD stuff on 360, and then it was popular. Like neither of them are saints.
They had the exclusives more so because the 360 was the more popular platform. It's kind of like how we got tons of games and exclusives, but it's because of sales. Microsoft wasn't really striking deals except for the
PS4 is the more popular platform in last gen.
Right. It's still like exclusives are bad for consumers in general. So that's right there, the main thing. But with Sony arguing about Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard, it's really dumb. And I don't think Microsoft really wants full exclusivity. Anyways, because they make money from people being on the other platforms as well. Microsoft just wants to be able to sell their games on everyone's platforms. That's what they want to do, or at least that's my read on it. I don't know if Mark, if you have any thoughts on that.
Starfield's not on PlayStation 5.
They say that
Well,
now.
not entirely.
They say that now.
Oh, you think it'll make it eventually?
I think they might do like a reverse thing where it's like it'll come out like 6 months to a year later.
Yeah.
Nope.
Diablo 4.
Oh no, Mark's still having technical issues. Sorry, everyone.
Test.
Oh, there now it's coming through. It must be the
I
wire.
want to hear your opinion, Mark. Mark, talk some more. Instead of just saying test.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Testing.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Great content.
You're cutting
So
it.
there's no chance that Microsoft Xbox is going to take Call of Duty off of PlayStation because Call of Duty is free to play and they're going to make bank with it. So I don't think that they would ever take it off of PlayStation.
You're cutting a little bit in and out.
Do you have another like headset or something you could use?
No. Oh, I think I like fucked with my mic. Unplugged the power cord and then like my microphone did like a staticky sound and everything got disconnected.
Ooh. You hate that staticky sound.
You guys hear me okay though? Like
You're coming
all of my
through.
words are
Yeah. It's good. It's
Yeah, you
good
just might want
enough.
to speak up a bit more.
okay. I'm gonna talk a little bit louder then.
Perfect. But yeah, Mike, so is there anything else with your gaming? Like, have you been able to appreciate the Series X? Or do you just feel like you're just you're still just gaming like you were before?
Test.
I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm still just game. Like, I don't really. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not.
You're playing remasters of Pac-Man World, Mike. That's why you still like you feel like you're just gaming as normal because you're not playing anything that requires it. But then again, there aren't a whole lot of Series X exclusives.
I mean, they look great. Like
if
Lego
any.
Star Wars look great. They all Pac-Man World looks great, but I don't think it would look like terrible on the other system. But I don't know. I don't have like a super duper TV either. So like maybe if I got like a better TV, maybe I would notice more of a difference. It's definitely like faster and like it's awesome that you could just shut off the system and pick up right where you left off and stuff like that. Like I think that's really good.
So there you go. Yeah, those are some of the more meaningful features. Like visuals can be very subjective. I still think like I played a Switch game for a little bit, and then I went back over to Horizon Forbidden West on PS5, and I was just like, my brain immediately was like, "Holy crap!" Like I couldn't believe that. Like I try not to be too big of a visual whore, but I just couldn't. I could tell how much prettier that Horizon was compared to like the barely 720/1080p. I was playing Splatoon 3. I played Splatoon 3 and then I switched back over to Horizon Forbidden West.
It looked like shit, right? It looked like shit.
I just noticed how much different it was. And
But it's like a cartoon game. I don't know.
there's a clarity aspect to it is what it is. And like Splatoon isn't like, it's not hard to make things out, but considering they don't use any anti-aliasing and things are jaggy and there's just a huge difference. Like even cartoony games. Like I've played cartoony games in high definition thanks to PC and PlayStation 5, and like it's just, you just notice the difference. The like visuals, like, you can notice the difference if the game is optimized well. So I would say that, like, I don't know. I guess the next game you're probably gonna play that's like actually like next gen, Mike, is you're probably just waiting for Fallen Order 2, right? Star Wars
What are they
Jedi Fallen
calling it?
Order.
I can't.
It's Star Wars Jedi something. Yeah, it has a different subtitle.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Mike froze. Oh man, this is the most podcasty episode ever.
As the 50th. I just realized I'm gonna have to mark this one as explicit. I didn't. I didn't have to do that for any of the other ones.
All right, I won't fucking curse anymore in this episode.
Just fucking go for it.
X back.
All right, but yeah, Mike, you're waiting for like the next Star Wars Jedi, whatever the Fallen Order sequel is, right?
Yeah. I don't remember the name of it.
I'm looking it up right now. Is there any other games you're looking forward to in the next couple months or year?
Breath of the Wild 2. You're gonna get that.
I'll probably get it,
I'm
but
sorry. It's Tears of the Kingdom now.
Tears of
I'll
the
probably try. I'll probably try it
Yeah,
out.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
Okay. And then all those farming games, I'm really excited for those.
Oh, Nintendo, the farming capital of the video game world.
Farming Simulator 22 is free on Game Pass, Xbox Series X. Download it today.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'll
Farming
do that
Simulator
after.
doesn't have any waifus, so like that's no good.
What?
You can't marry anyone in Farming Simulator.
Yeah, if there's not a dating sim aspect, people just don't want to do it.
You could cut the farm or the crops and say that says, "Will you marry me?" Important.
Wait, can you make your
Oh,
own
yes,
scarecrows
because-
in Farming Simulator? That might count.
I don't think so.
Bummer. Well, Mark, now that you are here, tell us, how has gaming been for you over the last couple months and what you're looking forward to?
I'm here for now. I'm not sure how long this microphone is going to be working for, unfortunately. Lately, I've actually been. I is here.
Oop, it's cutting out. It's cutting out. Go, try again.
Is it a bad cable?
Table.
We can try getting a new cable.
Testing time.
Hang on. Yep. Gonna take a quick thing. Hang on. You shorted my cable.
So let's all talk about
Mike?
Birch now behind his back.
Mike, you gonna get a PS5? My sister just
Yes.
got a PS5, and I think she's still just only gonna play Genshin on it because that's all she plays.
That cable was from the Wii U.
I don't see myself like. I don't know. I don't see myself getting one. Not right now. No, I just mean right now. Like maybe down the road, like maybe in a couple of years, but like I don't really have time to like devote to all these different systems. I have to take care of the pond and all the house stuff.
Yeah. How's it feel having Spectrum now instead of FiOS?
Spectrum, it's actually like 500. It's pretty fast.
Oh, you got 500 megabits?
Yeah.
That-
I got
that-
But not 500 up though.
Yeah, I think it's 500 both ways.
That's what it's supposed
Oh,
to
really?
be. That
Okay.
up to that, I'm
Okay.
sure. But that's still, when you have that available, that's a noticeable difference.
But I can also get a green light here. So, I mean, I did get a cheaper price and they were able to
Let's test.
install Spectrum faster. But like
Testing.
in the future, I can get just like FiOS,
The 10
they-
gigabits or whatever.
the gigabit internet with the what do you call it? What is the cable they use?
Fiber optic.
Fiber optics. That's it. The fiber
See?
optics.
USB-C.
Is that what the cable is? USB-C?
USB-C. USB-C. Can you?
I can hear you. USB-C sounds good. I hope our audience is having as much fun as we are just listening to our troubles.
USB-C. All right.
What you really need is a lightning cable.
Oh, because that's way too much power for my microphone than what I need. So the question that Birch proposed, I'm just going to segue right back into it. question was, how have I been enjoying gaming lately? I've been enjoying it. Do we want to dive back? I assume we're cutting all of this.
I'll cut some of it, but I'll figure it out in editing.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just say like
I might just leave it all in.
guys, we had
I might just
Yeah.
leave this unedited because it's the last episode.
We said some really, really bad things while you stepped away, so I cut it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Racial slurs from Mike.
gamer words.
Not even gonna listen to it. We're just gonna put it up there. Mark it.
That's what one of the
The following
YouTubers
podcast
I watch calls those the slurs. He calls them gamer words, which I think is really funny.
Gamer words.
Following podcast
Slurs.
episode contains racial slurs from the one and only Mike.
I didn't say anything. I was eating goldfish.
It's even worse. It's the worst slur.
Mike, that's a racial slur now. You're just not up to date on what's politically
You
correct.
can't call them
Yellow-
goldfish.
Goldfish means something.
Yellow fish. Yellow.
Hollow.
Yellow fish.
Yellowfish.
But how have you been enjoying gaming, Mark?
Well, I've actually been playing a lot of No Man's Sky lately, which has
No
actually
Man's
been
Sky.
very enjoyable. Though I feel like I'm almost like hitting that peak of where it becomes more of a grind and like me just running around planet to planet trying to find resources. But yeah, went into it pretty open-minded, been enjoying it. Buddy of mine kind of like showed me the ropes, so like I really butchered the tutorial and like definitely was going against some like deeper, not quite end game stuff early on, but content that may not have been best for someone who played virtually just a couple hours. But that, and then I don't know if any of you guys even know this game, but Trackmania, has any the show of hands heard from it?
I have heard Jeff Gerstmann on the earlier episode of the Bombcast talk about that a lot. So yeah,
It's
I know what it
so
is.
much fun. I used to actually play it years and years ago, but I don't know, just randomly I saw like a YouTube video or something, and I was like, holy crap, or holy shit, I need to download that again and check it out. So it's a great bite-sized game. You could literally play for 5 minutes and be happy and good. But what I've really been digging is like they do like daily cups, so like once a day, they do one random level that you've never played before. Just have to set the fastest, and then you get like pulled into other players that also have like the best time. Like the whole premise of Trackmania is it's basically Mario Kart on steroids, or maybe like Zero X, where you're going blazing fast. You're going against like 50 or 60 other hosts, so like you see everyone else doing turns and whatnot, of course. So like the time you finish one lap, like you're only looking at a couple more people because everyone else restarted because they crashed. It's all about just fast paced. Like you restart, you got 3-second countdown, right back on the track and racing fast.
What game is this?
Trackmania. It is on. Oh, I know actually what it was. They are coming to console early next year. I was like, oh, let me actually check it out on PC. It's on. There's a free version, an older free version on Steam, but you can download the latest version, which from Epic Game Store or Ubisoft, which I've got it from.
It's
Cool.
not on Steam.
There's an older. I wouldn't like if you want to start on Steam. I would definitely recommend checking it out there. I think it's Trackmania 2. I did something like that. 2020 titled newest iteration of it.
Oh, I tried that Fall Guys game. That was free. My younger like cousin from Canada, he was into it, so we were playing it on the projector.
I don't know if we talked about that. I've been playing that a little bit here and there as well. It's a fun little.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, me and my friends played it back when it first came out, and then once it kind of opened up to, I think, a few more platforms, it got filled with a bunch of cheaters, and I always thought it was pretty goofy. There was bad balancing for the teams, but I thought it was a decent thing. I had fun, but then once my friends stopped, I kind of just stopped playing because it wasn't fun enough to play like on my own. Um, but yeah, I think Fall Guys is cool. It's gone free to play, and that's cool that more people are now playing it, and it keeps getting updated, more seasons and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I always thought it was a great concept. Just once again, monetization and unlocking cosmetics and stuff. It just gets so tricky. I wish everything was a la carte, which will segue into something I want to talk about in the news in a little bit. But yeah, Mark, yeah, I've played Trackmania with you. So yeah, it's a time trial style game, and that's pretty fun.
Right.
It's like what Hot Wheels is if you like were in the Hot Wheels cars, building your own tracks and playing on other people's tracks and stuff like that. Oh, and I was going to ask you for No Man's Sky because there's been a ton of updates, and I've seen some of them, and they look really interesting. It's still very much like this huge sandbox, so like it's once again, I played Minecraft, I played DayZ. I'm kind of over games where it's like you make your own fun. Um,
Yeah.
has any of like the new updates or features made it more compelling, or are you just kind of playing it because like
This is the very first time I'm playing it ever, so I
okay,
can't really say in terms of like new updates. Like everything is new to me, so yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I could 100% see how like well there was no multiplayer I think early on
yeah,
the game, even though it was kind of advertised as such. I don't know. It's a really really cool concept, very unique. It definitely feels a little Sea of Thievesy in terms of that. Here's the whole world, have fun, do whatever you want. Like I said, I kind of feel like I'm almost hitting that tipping point right now in the game. Like, all right, I could sign in, I could do some missions, but like, I want to buy a ship. Like $8 million away, I only have 2 million in like 15 hours of that I've already played. So I feel like I really got to grind to advance in the.
yeah. It's a game that just wants you to kind of explore and do stuff and hope that like you'll grind via trying to explore and find stuff. I guess there's more variety now, and I guess from what you've said, it sounds like either a lot of the extra updates are meant to be like post game content for people who have been playing for a while and haven't really and need new content, not so much like the onboarding people who are just getting into it. So it means there's more for you to discover in the long run, but it kind of sucks that like some of that stuff isn't more like available up front, or they didn't redo the tutorial. I guess they have retooled the initial intro a bit, but like there's base building now, and there's like spaceship building and spaceship exploration, exploring like abandoned ships and stuff like that. I've seen a bunch of crazy stuff. So I'd be curious, and if you are, I'd say go look at some of the update trailers that they did and see if there's anything in there that like. Let me know if you find it, if anything like really sticks out to you. I don't really have any interest in going back to No Man's Sky myself, but I'm definitely like open to hearing about like if there's anything that since you're getting into it, that keeps your interest there. There is another game you've been playing though. I don't think you've talked about it on the podcast for a while, but you want to
Does it
talk
rhyme with
Fiber Dunk?
Cyberdunk? Yeah, Cyberdunk 4077.
There you go.
Did you watch the new Netflix show?
I've now watched the new Cyberpunk 2077 series. I'll get to it. The thing is, it's not necessarily my genre, my go-to genre of entertainment. I think it's all like anime.
It's anime. It's an anime
Oh,
series.
anime. Oh yeah, it's already like very anime from the beginning, so it's like
Yeah, but I really enjoy the game enough that that's a show that I would definitely, open mind, go into it. If I just don't like it after the first couple episodes, I'll jump out. But no, the game has been fun. I haven't honestly given a ton of a playthrough with the most recent DLC, but yeah, I know numbers have been climbing in terms of player counts with the latest updates. All really really good thing see and hear. No, I've been enjoying jumping back into it. I still have yet to beat the game. That's kind of why, like, I'm slowly chipping away little by little. I'll get there one day.
Wait, Cyberpunk or Fiber Dunk? I'm confused.
Cyberpunk 27.
Okay.
Yeah, what? 2077.
So Fiber Dunk isn't a real thing, or it is a real thing?
It's
Cyberdunk Cyberpunk 4077, I think, comes out next year. So be on the lookout for that as a Game of the Year
Cyber
2023.
Dunk is where you play basketball with yarn balls.
Yeah, it's vegan
don't-
basketball.
You know what
Yeah,
this
fiber dunk. That was a bad joke. I tried.
Well, that's cool. And what are you looking forward to like in the next year or so?
You teased this question to me earlier. The only thing genuinely that's kind of on my list for like the next year is Mario and Rabbids 2077. That would be a killer freaking
Sparks of Hope.
Sparks of Hope. Yeah, the XCOM and on Mario. Here, episode 50. I'll actually say Mario correctly.
Now I know you're not, or at least I don't think you're much of a Marvel guy, Mark. But since you're talking about like RTSs or tactical strategy games, has the new Marvel Suns or some Midnight Suns game?
Midnight Suns.
Yeah, has that been of any interest to you? Have you heard of it at all?
Never even heard of it, truthfully.
Oh, you might want to take a look. It's coming out this year and see. Because if you're looking for more tactical games, that one looks like it's getting a lot of positive buzz. So, yeah, check that out. It's like it's a turn-based tactical thing, but it looks like it also uses some sort of like card-based interface. I don't really know. I think that's just like UI design.
What is it called?
Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Did you play the first Mario and Rabbids?
So I actually only played one time for 15 minutes, but I actually really enjoyed it. My younger brother has it, and we were playing it when we were out on vacation like a month or two back. I was like, oh my God, there's another one coming out soon. Get it so we can play multiplayer online together, and it's not doing multiplayer, so it's on my radar. It's not an insta-buy, pre-order, nothing like that, but if it does really, really well, maybe I'd still buy it.
Did you guys all get strikers or?
Not yet, no.
I did buy Strikers.
I haven't got it yet.
I like it. I want to play more of it. I would like to unlock more of the gear. I actually want to check and see if there's a cheat code for like unlocking all the gear. They just did an update. They added Pauline, so yeah, my girl, and Diddy Kong. So once again, they're doing like the long-term free DLC plan where they're adding more characters and gear and courts and stuff along the way.
Maybe
So that's pretty cool.
Maybe I'll wait till
Also,
like all the stuff comes out.
I mean, you could,
also
but like
known
it's
as
all going to be
selling
free
an-
and the
selling
price is
an
going to go down.
incomplete game.
But if the DLC's free, I think that's fair. Because that just adds longevity. If you bought, and Nintendo like never puts its game on sale. Like at best, it may be $40 or $45 on like an eShop sale, or you're buying a used copy super cheap, and then it's a used copy anyways. So,
But I mean, I don't know. That seems weird though, like that they wouldn't announce ahead of time, like these are what we have planned for the next year.
they didn't do it for golf. They didn't do it for tennis. They didn't do it for Mario Party, and we all bought those games. Well, you guys bought Mario Party, so
Wait, they didn't add anything to Mario Party, did they?
they added online play.
It sucks.
That was the first one, not the second one came with online play.
Yeah, the second one did. Well, the Mario Party Superstars, which is not technically a sequel to Super Mario Party. Super Mario Party is technically just like Mario Party 11.
And now we get 1, 2, and 3.
Kinda.
Is on the
Expansion pass.
yeah.
Which I mean, those are old. The friggin' N64 games, and the online's gonna suck, and they're not like they're just emulated ports, and they're not even gonna be that good. It's almost not even worth it. They're like, it's almost not even adding value because of how bad their emulation has been.
Nobody can even buy the N64 controllers, and why would you want to play an N64 game without the authentic controller?
You didn't even have an N64.
I'm just saying, if I did and I wanted to play N64 games, I would want the N64 Switch controller, and they're like impossible to buy. So it's like,
I guess.
Actually, I don't even know why people would want. I mean, I get that people have nostalgia for the classic N64 controller, but I bought one of those ergonomic versions of the N64 controller, and I like that so much better. It's just insane.
Get out of here with that.
Nope, never.
Maybe I
OG
just
or
like to shit
bust.
on Nintendo too much.
What'd you
They
say?
need to make an adapter. They should make an adapter for the original N64 controller.
Rumble pack all day.
I mean, you can get some third-party stuff that might work through USB.
USB-C.
I mean, USB-C is great, but Nintendo won't be adopting USB-C for another 20 years. Okay, that's not true. They have the USB-C on their controllers. So that's true. But for like on the
It's just
system,
It's Apple.
oh,
Yeah,
that'll
one
be
is
fun.
aren't they making them like in Europe? They have to switch to USB-C or something, or they won't sell it.
Don't
iPhone, yeah.
don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there was a law passed in the late 2000s that required all phone manufacturers to switch to micro USB, and Apple was just paying fines to do their own proprietary plug.
Jeez, yeah, I could see them doing that. I think in the UK, didn't the
Don't
UK
at
thing
me.
require them, or it would
Probably.
The
It fucks everyone themselves.
the
Granted, Lightning is better than micro USB, but USB-C is probably better than Lightning.
I think they're about the
You can
same.
go on and on about
Yeah,
USB-C sucks when it comes down to standards because there are none practically. So that's why Nintendo had their whole issues because they don't follow the standard, I believe.
well, USB-C was
Like
still pretty new too.
Thunderbolt cables.
No, the Switch has USB-C.
No, Mike. He was talking about how those third-party docks were frying switches because there was no standard for the powers, for the amount of power that was put through them.
Okay.
That was the main reason, is because so basically, the port could provide any amount of like wattage, I guess, and there was a specific kind you needed to get that wouldn't short your switch out, but if you didn't get the right one, then it would fry the switch. That was why those third-party docks were so sketchy. I think that's been all sorted out now. I think most third-party docks are fine.
Well,
Yeah.
with actual cables, it's even more of a nightmare because some cables only do power, some only do data, some of them are Thunderbolt 3 cables, some of them are Thunderbolt 4 cables. So it's way beyond Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
But that's computer tech. That's yeah.
And none of it's marked properly. Like even HDMI, despite the fact that there's only a couple different versions of what cables are, that it's all like buzzwords and stuff. It's like super high speed, ultra, whatever, instead of just like HDMI 2.0 cord, HDMI 3.0 cord, like very easy to understand nomenclature. And even for like TV ports, like you have to dig into reviews to find out like which ports have it and which ports don't, for like the good for like HDMI 2.1 or higher or whatever the better HDMI is to support all the new features like variable refresh rate, aka VRR, or have the right data speeds and all that stuff. Higher, and then also supporting like 120 hertz and all that
8K.
stuff.
I might be
Fuck
a crazy
8K. No one
person,
cares about 8K.
I'm just talking.
But when I was buying my TV, I was reading like AV forum posts about like, did they fix this and this firmware update? But I'm kind of nuts. So maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe you could just buy a TV but I had to do that.
Most of the Go ahead.
Oh no, it was stupid. Never mind.
Yeah, most TVs
there
now.
Are no stupid questions.
Not on this episode. Most TVs nowadays, like gaming TVs, getting more gamer features is now becoming more standard because they realize the market's there and they'll pay for it. So like I think like LG's OLED TVs, like all of their HDMI ports now going forward are like HDMI 2.1 or 2.2. I forget what the highest one is now. So like you can use everything on those ones, and then like Samsung and LG. Oh no, LG is OLED. But then Samsung and Sony are also starting to put some more in there. So that's all getting a bit more standardized and a bit better, but you still need to hunt and see which ones are.
Sony has something called auto tone mapping HDR or something. So they're doing their own like Dolby Vision type technology that's only going to work with the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So
PlayStation
not
5 already
really.
was doing
and
auto HDR.
Samsung doesn't have Dolby Vision, so like,
But there's you want to talk about something
they're-
that doesn't have standards. HDR is a thing that doesn't have standards. It's so stupid.
well, Dolby Vision is an HDR standard. HDR 10 is HDR. What is like plus or so? Like there are Dolby Vision standards. They're just not on every device. And Sony is splintering off and doing. They're calling it like auto tone mapping or something. And it's designed to work with the PlayStation 5. So like instead of supporting something that every TV could use, they want to lock you into their products, which
Right.
Oh, what was on the
You know-
Switch with the Ice Cube? The thing where the controller had that like HD rumble.
HD Rumble, yeah, that's what it was called.
the haptics, yeah.
Which the PlayStation 5 controller basically has. Mark, you're trying to say something.
Ed, the fact that you said 3 different types of HDR means there is no standard.
Well, that's the thing though. There are standards, but there is no single standard.
That's what
it's
we're
all
saying.
over the place.
Yeah, well, I have like 100 different cables in my drawer over here. I don't even know what half of them go to, but they're micro
That's like
USB.
every tech thing. How many streaming services are fighting over which codecs devices have to include? Like, Google wanted to ban Roku install this codec into their new devices for YouTube, and they were going to take YouTube. That's just how fucking tech companies work. They're all assholes.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But I guess that doesn't excuse it. It's just reality.
All right. I'll use that as a segue. You want to talk about something terrible? I want to get to one of the latest news, and I want to dunk on the LG whatever cloud gaming thing that Microsoft is pushing as part of the Xbox brand.
Logitech.
What did I say?
LG.
LG. My bad. LG's pretty okay. No, Logitech.
Logitech like stuff for my computer.
They make pretty decent accessories in general, but like my main beef with the cloud device, other than it has cloud, it's cloud only, and it's $300. That's so dumb. Like it's only cloud. Like you're charging $300. If it's cloud only, it should not be more than $100. Like I'm sorry, a device that cannot work if you go 30 feet away from your house is there's really no point to it. It's so unreliable. Cloud is so unreliable.
Does it include anything else though with that $300? Like, do you get a year or two of Game Pass?
I don't know. I will try and Google it right now.
Like in 5 years,
You might get 3 months free if you're a new subscriber, because that's what they tend to do for these things. You get like a month or 3 free, but it's only if you're a new subscriber. So you get nothing, we get nothing.
maybe in like 5 years there'll be like fiber optics, like on every stop sign. We'll be emitting like Wi-Fi signals.
5G on every street corner.
Oh, it's currently on sale for $299 for pre-order. So you get $50 off. Oh, it's gonna be $350, and then now it's $300 if you pre-order it.
Wow, the savings for a device that you can only play games online.
It can do NVIDIA Now, NVIDIA GeForce Now, and Xbox Game Pass.
Right, but that's a feature.
And PS Remote Play, doesn't it do, right? It does Xbox Remote Play too.
Well, it only does Xbox Remote Play because it's nothing.
And Steam Link.
All right, all right, that's the feature then.
Remote Play is running on your
on the
device.
cloud.
xCloud is running on the cloud. Because you can remotely access your console at home over the internet. So there's PS Remote Play and Xbox. So xCloud, you can only play games that are on Game Pass right now. But Xbox Remote Play, you can play anything you own, but it's running on your own device, uploaded through your home network, and probably not working very well outside of your home.
I think it's completely useless. I mean, like in the future, everything is going to be on the cloud. So
everything will not be on the cloud. Local will still be done for the most part.
Do you think they're going to have like DVD drives or Blu-ray drives?
DVD drives? Going backwards, Mike.
Mike, why did you buy a house when you can just live in the metaverse in the cloud?
I think they'll have VHS cassette tapes.
The
You can go to a blockbuster with your meta headset and pick out VHSs in VR.
Hopefully they have one of those little devices that the only job is you put a VHS tape in to rewind the tape.
Please be kind, rewind.
you have to put in a DVD to rewind the VHS. That's how it works. Because the disc spins one way and it rewinds the VHS. It's counterclockwise. It's physics. So to Mike's point, like cloud tech is a great concept. The problem is our internet infrastructure is too fucked up right now to support it the way it's meant to, and the way internet service providers operate, they are not going to upgrade service outside of maybe some metro areas unless they're put to gunpoint by their investors. And that is so not how things operate. So like maybe in 50 years cloud gaming will reach a point now, and I've heard, because everyone talks about it in the gaming sphere because they have to, because cloud gaming is a thing that the companies are trying to push because none of them want to invest in actual hardware. And they don't want anyone to own games, and and people will spend money on shitty things. So they are not, people say, "Oh, it's pretty good," but it always comes down to the same thing. If I have a good internet connection and I'm playing a game that really doesn't require fast-paced reaction time, so basically anything that's a single-player game, then it's fine and acceptable. But most of the people and what people want to play on these things is, or at least for a lot of the target markets or the mass markets, it would be people who want to play the multiplayer games with their friends. They want to play Fortnite. They want to play a bunch of other stuff. And Fortnite is already able to play on cell phones locally. You can sync up controllers now. So the gaming handheld market that this is kind of trying to niche its way into, especially like it's $50 at its full price. That Logitech G cloud gaming thing is only $50 less than the lowest quality Steam Deck, which is full local plus Steam Link, plus you can like mod it and do other stuff to put you can do Windows on there and do Game Pass. It's getting better every day. I'm sure within like the next year or so, they're probably going to have official Game Pass support with Microsoft at some point.
But can't Steam like take games off of there? Can't they like say, "Oh, we don't want this," or whatever, or like we no longer offer this because they pulled whatever license from, I don't know, any random company?
No, wait, what are you?
But
Sorry, wait.
They don't take away your purchase. Oh, go.
Yeah, and Ed, I think I'm answering your question. I think I'm confused with what Mike. What do you think? Wait, clarify what you were saying, Mike, because I don't. Steam is a storefront, just like PlayStation Network, just like Nintendo, just like Xbox. What are you talking about?
If they lose copyright or something like that.
That's not how that works.
No.
No. Steam
you just can't sell it anymore.
If a game gets delisted, which has happened, to Mike's point, anyone who's already purchased it can still re-download their own. And I think in very rare instances, someone who doesn't own it can't re-download it, but you like have to download. But you're still entitled to the purchase. It's not like the streaming service once you lose connection. Steam allows for an offline mode, which you can do. And Steam at least lets you play locally, so you download it to your hardware. Whereas like the cloud is you need to have an internet connection, and it depends on the quality of the internet connection. And go ahead.
Didn't Nintendo or something? Didn't they like with the Wii? They stopped like supporting the channel, and that just like disappeared for like several months, and nobody could like.
They brought it back. You can still download them. They brought it back.
Okay.
But also, so
it was yeah.
No, go ahead, Ed.
I say it was an unspecified technical issue, according to them. They said they're not intending to get rid of it, but I guess point is you can still download your shitty WiiWare games if you really want to, Mike.
And also, Mike, that actually is the perfect point. Nintendo, so the same thing can happen on any platform. So if you're following that logic and trying to use it against Steam, then that means there's no point in you buying Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox products because all of them could pull the plug at any point. So that's kind of a moot point there. So
Or if they go out of business, right? Then you probably won't be able to re-download the stuff if you didn't.
Valve says they basically have a switch that if like they ever go out of business and Steam has to get shut down, they're just going to flip a switch and anything that you own is going to be there, and they'll just have perpetual servers. And they'll just remove all the DRM. I mean, that's if they ever go away. But it's the same thing like Apple. If Apple goes out of business and suddenly all your iPhones and all your media that you bought through them is dead. So like
All
it
my
applies to every
passwords
company,
and Apple keychain,
right?
I'll be screwed.
So no, it's
I guess it's like
that's not
a dystopia, like
what I'm saying.
Hypothetical thing, I guess.
What I'm saying is your issue, the concern you have applies to literally every other platform you're using. So, it's not a real issue.
Okay.
Yeah, what if Subaru goes out of business and I can't get parts for my car anymore? I don't know if you can really live your life worrying if a company that supports a product you use is going to go out of business. Or I guess it could happen, but like
it depends.
I choose to live without fear.
Don't buy the new Atari. That's all I need to say. But no, like the cloud,
The Amiga.
The Amiga, yeah.
Oh, the Amiga, yeah. But yeah, Mark, was there any news you wanted to talk about?
RIP Option Menu Crew.
That's not news.
Breaking news. This is the last podcast episode. Potentially.
Well, thanks for the reminder, Buzzkill. I was having so much fun until you brought that up.
This week's episode is brought to you by the last episode of Option Menu Crew. Download it today while you still can.
I'm just trying to sit here swearing, and you're trying to tell me about how my podcast is ending.
Go fuck yourself.
Podcast like goes off of the cloud or whatever.
Mike,
this is getting taken down.
We want to hear a curse from you, Mike. Say a curse word.
What do you want me to say?
Take the Lord's name in vain.
The racial slur that you said earlier that we had to cut out.
Didn't say any racial slur.
Imagine.
Anyway.
Sorry, we're not putting you on the spot. But in terms of any video game news lately, I don't know. Got nothing.
What about the new Elite Xbox Elite Series 2 like core controller and it getting like the Xbox customization treatment? You can do all the colorizing now.
Yeah, I got to look more into that. To be honest, all I really know is that you can customize the light, and everyone's losing their shit about that, but it's fucking light, so.
I'm surprised they didn't do a Series 3 controller yet. I'm guessing that if it has anything to do with like the news that went around a couple months ago, that that Xbox is trying to figure out what new features to put in their controller. That maybe they're still working on adding a bunch of stuff. Can't read it on season 3. Mark is trying to show us his smartwatch with a bunch of, I assume, text on it into the camera.
Oh shoot! I left my Apple Watch at my parents'.
Okay, trying to read this text here. Oh, and
sorry. There.
You want to share with the class?
Will with time, yes.
Okay.
Ryan, you didn't ask me about my gaming, but I just wanted to I guess give a plug for I just finished Yakuza Like a Dragon 2 years after it came out.
Nice.
And I loved it. And now we just got 3 more. I guess it's not called Yakuza anymore. Now it's Like a Dragon. We got 3 new Like a Dragon games.
Which is technically what it was always named.
Yeah. We got 3 new ones, those. And now I'm looking at this 7 earlier Yakuza games that I haven't played, and Judgment and Lost Judgment, and I think I'm foaming at the mouth trying to figure out how to handle this series.
Well, you've had a pretty busy social life, in that you and me have both
that's true.
improved / loaded up our social lives in the last couple months. So, I mean, what do you do you really feel like you need to play all of them, or do you think you'll just do like the greatest hits? Also, Judgment and Lost Judgment are now coming to PC. Sega won that battle. Apparently has to do with the
Oh yeah,
CEO
with
dying.
Johnny's.
Yeah, the CEO of that marketing company dying, so that's great.
That's what it takes for a Japanese company to change their mind is the CEO dying.
It's what it takes for any corporation now to make real changes is that the leaders need to either retire or die. It's so awful. Greedy fucks.
Mark, are you trying to excuse yourself from the podcast?
Sir, I was mirroring Mike.
Oh. Yeah, you was like waving.
We were waving at one another.
But as to your question, I think I'm gonna play Yakuza 0 and see how much I like and or can tolerate the actual like beat 'em up brawler type combat because I might hate it.
From the few clips I've seen, it looks kind of wacky and crazy. Like you can get into fights just in like 7-Eleven style stores, and like it looks hilarious.
Well, haven't you seen the news? People are getting the fights in 7-Elevens all over the country. If you watch the news, if you believe what you see on the news,
That is not the news I have been seeing, but that's I'm not surprised.
I'm Obama.
Might cut
but
that.
yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of games. I think you and I, Ryan, we pay close enough attention to all these like game announcements, these events, and I think we also have broad enough taste that like the list keeps growing. The games we're interested in.
And I've tried to broaden my taste actively over the years. Like I still know like what I like the most, but there's stuff here and there I want to dabble in, and try some stuff that's kind of on the fringe of what I'm used to. I give you a bunch of shit about turn-based games, but it's not like I don't hate turn-based. It's just that typically in like RPG style stuff, I don't like. But for like puzzle solving and things like that, or like what would be something a bit more non-combat like that doesn't really bother me. Just like I'm not very much into platformers purely, unless it's like an action platformer, kind of like Metroid or something like that. Or
Ratchet and Clank. You played Ratchet and Clank?
Ratchet and Clank. Oh, that was a 3D game though. But then there's also but I'm playing right now Little Nightmares 2. I finished Horizon Forbidden West, which is great. That was really good. I have a lot of thoughts about it, and I definitely playing that after Elden Ring. It's like I can't help comparing them a ton in my head, and it's just it's very different, and I feel like it really is based on what you want out of an open world experience. There are some things I like way more in Elden Ring, and there's some things I like way more in Horizon. But that's all I want to say for this. But what I was going to say is, so Little Nightmares 2, and I played Little Nightmares 1. It's a horror platformer puzzle solver thing, and and I like it. I like the puzzle solving. It's very much like if you like Limbo or Inside, that's practically a genre at this point. Is the creepy platformer, the creepy puzzle solving platformer. So more of that. It's great. Looks like claymation stuff too. So that's been a lot of fun. And it's those like kind of mixing of weird concepts that I'm just like, oh yeah, I can dig this for that reason or another. So yeah, taste there. Sorry, Ed, I didn't mean to skip over. I was just trying to focus on our guests here and.
Oh yeah, all I was gonna say is you may prefer action and I prefer turn-based, but I play both. You will not touch a turn-based game.
I have touched turn-based, and I have a few on my wish list that are turn-based. I am just far less likely to play something that is turn-based.
Yeah.
It like there's certain things that are just gonna be that way. Like I played Child of Light, and I liked that a bunch, and that's turn-based. But that had a very unique rhythm mechanic to it, plus a great art style. And oh yeah, sorry, I brought up Child of Light, which is a great game, but unfortunately, Ubisoft owns it, and Ubisoft is still a terrible company. Its management supports harassment of its employees and hasn't done anything. So always got to reach with the disclaimer, and that was something I was going to say for you, Mark. Like, Mario and Rabbids seems like a really fun game, but unfortunately, Ubisoft is involved, and they're a terrible company still. So just gotta call that out each time Ubisoft comes up.
I think they're a great fucking company, so chill out, all right? No, I'm looking forward to the game. Don't rain on my parade.
That's an excellent
Counter to
excellent
workplace
just play-
harassment.
excellent
Just
impression
download
of
the
the
ROM and play
classic
it on the
online
Switch
gaming
emulator.
troll.
Have to. Putting it all out there.
Play it on a Switch emulator, then they don't get a cent.
There you go.
And you can play it at like higher quality.
Play it on the Steam Deck like it was meant to be played.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I keep hearing about, oh, this game's coming to Switch, and me and Ed, well, Ed not so much anymore, but Castle Super Beast we were watching, and the one guy Pat on there, like now his bit is whenever something gets announced for Switch, he's like, oh, it's coming to PC. That's great. So, because everything keeps leaking on Switch like 2 weeks early, thanks to old modded Switches. And though Denuvo is trying to work out how to do console DRM for Nintendo, because all video game company, well, a lot of video game companies refuse to acknowledge that DRM doesn't work. Piracy is a customer service issue. Corporate greed is terrible. Although I guess I got to say, good on Denuvo for their scam. Is it a scam or a hustle? I don't know. But either
I think hustle.
Yeah, it seems like it's a hustle because it makes people annoyed. But like,
are you suggesting that the company should promote piracy? Like Nintendo should encourage people to pirate their games?
no. I'm saying what
Just
Nintendo,
put their games on PC.
which they should. But also Nintendo. Like, my point is, Nintendo's like, oh, our hardware keeps getting pirated. Like, the people who are going to do that, the reason why people pirate games is A, they were never going to pay for them to begin with, or B, there is something wrong with the official product and buying it the official way. Which, for Switch games, largely, is that their performance is so terrible because Nintendo refuses to release an updated version of its hardware and refuses to enforce building within the specs of the system. But most developers do that. It's only ever since we got like PS5 and Xbox Series that we got to this generation where now like there's so much power that developers really don't have to compromise on stuff, and now we can choose between the resolution modes and the performance modes. Which, let's face it, resolution mode is pretty much trash in every for every game, because once you see the difference for yourself in frame rate, you're just like, oh, this is, there is no reason to use performance mode.
You mean resolution mode?
You're right, my bad. No reason to use resolution mode.
I have been defaulting to performance mode. Just and the last game I played on Switch, I think, in any length, was Triangle Strategy. And even that, like you cast a spell and it slows down. And it's turn-based, but it really did bother me. I don't think it would have bothered me like a couple of years ago, but like my standards are raising.
Well, yeah, and once you have the point of comparison, it's one of those things where like you get used to it. Mark, you're trying to point out the time?
He's got to go to bed soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, do you have to log off now because we still have technically 20 minutes left? We'll just
30
jump.
minutes.
Well, I'm going based on the recording time. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's 20 minutes left till we hit 90 minutes on the recording. So,
Do you have the Final Jeopardy tune to put on for like the last 30 seconds? Yeah.
Anyways,
I had a question.
yeah, go ahead, Mike.
What was everyone's like favorite moment of the podcast, or like favorite thing that happened on like an episode?
I don't know if I have a favorite.
I'm gonna have to take a look at the list that I have and see we've had some good ones. Which one? There was one recently where I was like, yeah, that was good. Might have been the marketing and the hype cycle one. I felt like we had a good conversation there. That was fun because like I don't know. I feel like it's just gotten better as we've been doing it, at least for Ryan and me, because we've been doing it for a while. So it's like, but
Yeah, I'm trying not to
that's a
sound like
hard
a
question to answer.
favorite moment or anything. I don't think there's really a favorite moment. It's been a lot of fun talking about the different topics, and I think Ed and I have had some fantastic conversations about the various topics. I know Ed, you've consistently walked away from like you'd be going into a topic going, I don't know if there's much to talk about here, and then I had taken some notes and brought it and kind of posed some interesting questions to you, and then you're like at the end of the podcast, you're like, oh man, there was actually a lot more to this than I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, but you've actually ended up having a lot more fun than you initially thought on topics you never thought you'd really care to discuss.
Yeah, I think I have. Sometimes, and this may be maybe just me being critical of myself. Sometimes I get to the end of podcasts, I'm like, I don't like the way I articulated myself there, and I just wasn't sure about this episode. But
Mm-hmm.
I that's how I am. I'm always like, I could be doing better. So
Yeah, and I can feel the same way sometimes too, and that's the part where like if the podcast was continuing or if we did go forward, like it was meant to be like evolving. Like we would revisit topics eventually because like news would come up in new aspects, and we still didn't get a chance to cover nearly everything, even when we were doing much longer episodes, because there's just so much, and then lots of stuff ties in and overlaps. So there would be chances to like rethink and change our opinions or to re-articulate ourselves and whatnot. So, but you and I have those side conversations all the time. We're always talking about this stuff, and then we're kind of just bringing that to the podcast. So, in a way, that'll still be going on. We're not like giving up on video games. We're just gonna
writing our iMessage essays.
just reducing our production schedule.
Midlife crisis.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day.
Thinking about having a midlife crisis?
I think I may be having one.
Oh no.
Maybe not, but
Tell us where it all began.
I just had a pretty interesting summer. That's all, and maybe think about stuff. But I'm the kind of person who like I can't shut my brain off. Like I probably have on average like 2 nights a week where I'm like up at least a few hours later than I want to be. Just like cannot shut my damn brain off.
Life in post-pandemic, right?
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know if that's post-pandemic, but
Another podcast.
now we're getting into like the existential stuff. Now I'm getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, on the topic of pandemic though, I think that was by far number one. We used to do monthly hangouts, game nights, things like that, and shit was really hitting the fan. And when things were crazy, the world was definitely chaotic. Not something that we necessarily talked about directly. The fact that we would still kind of get together and this podcast and act for even a few hours. I think that was number one favorite memory, even though it's sort of a cop out, multiple sort of memories there to answer your question.
Okay.
What about you? Do you have any key memory of your favorite?
I remember I really liked the Game of the Year episodes. In particular, there was the one year where Birch asked everyone like what their resolution was for like that year, and then we revisited it the next year. I thought that was really cool. I remember that.
Nice.
Mike, you never finished Super Mario 3D World. You didn't.
How do you know?
Keep your. Did you?
Never finished Paper Mario. Oh well.
Oh yeah, I like a lot of the episodes that we've been on, and I'd say there's no specific one that was great. Although I think like, I mean I say this one has a special place in my heart, but a lot of them have a special place in my heart. But like episode 0 was definitely a lot of fun. I feel like that was the one I had like the most post planning into, and then talking about the Smash roster there. That was very fun. If there was a potential reboot,
Yeah.
but I would say in recent memory, my most cathartic episode was finally getting to explain to Ed why I'm so pissed with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and just finally be like, This is like, do you not understand how much rage I have in my heart about this? And I realize it's completely petty. And I've said this over and over again. Like, this is a very petty argument. And reason why it's just like every single step. It's like every decision Square Enix made has made me angry as a fan, and it's like they just had to do like one thing differently and they could have like avoided a lot of rage, and it's all because they wanted to, well, I say they wanted to be clever, but I don't think that's true. Well, I mean, part of it is clever because they're trying to be greedy at the same time. Like, they wanted to trick people, not just thematically for the story, but they wanted to do it in order to cash in and get a bunch of people to spend extra money on a false promise and then bait and switch. So, like, they totally wanted to do that. There's no way they didn't want to. They had to have that discussion in there and be like, if we call it remake, does that, like, isn't that going to trick people? And clearly, like, some bean counters were like, well, yeah, who cares? We're making the money. Like, let them do whatever. So I'm really, really curious about what the sales numbers are going to be like for the sequel, especially now that they've announced it's going to be a trilogy. I wonder how many people are going to be like me and are going to kind of wait until like all of them are out and then maybe buy like the cheaper collection, or wait till it comes to Steam and also like will be way cheaper, or if it will they'll or if the sales numbers will be like significantly lower because people were looking for an actual remake and it's not happening. And then they're still doing the mobile version thing that's kind of a remake of like everything, but it's, you know, it's going to be a mobile gotcha game style things with microtransactions. So it's going to be awful and trashy. Just like all their other games are pretty much, you know, just terrible loot box driven games. So it's going to be trash that way. So like it's just so depressing. And I'd have one more depressing thing I was going to bring up before we were ending the episode.
I was going to say that you can hate it all you want, and I will just enjoy my ass off playing the next one, because even though it was pretty ridiculous, I had a good time. And I guess that's coming from a non-fan standpoint because I never played the original, but I'm happy I can at least enjoy it at some level. I feel sorry that like you know what, here's the thing. I hope when you play it again, the whole thing in like 5 or 10 years, I hope you get something out of it.
I mean, I will. They just,
But
I needed them to not lie to me about it not being I needed them to not lie about it being a remake and instead just embrace that it was a sequel. And I could have been happy because I'm like, oh, they're doing something new. I don't necessarily trust them based on how their writing decisions were with Kingdom Hearts, but I mean, I'd still be like cautiously optimistic. But I wouldn't be pissed. I'm like, oh, they're actually remaking it, and oh, they're instead of me, because I could have been okay with them doing it in multiple installments because I'm like, oh, they're not remaking it, they're making a brand new entry. So it's like there's no reason to be mad about that.
yeah. I actually looked over the list of our episodes to kind of see if anything jogged my memory. And I will say last summer when we had like E3 2021 and then we rolled into 5 episodes discussing all the platforms and PC and mobile, that was a pretty fun series to do. I thought that was enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that was a good summer of episodes.
Yeah, I like talking about the individual platforms and stuff like that. I think a lot of stuff worked out great. And it was always fun to then, you know, doing episodes and having some extra people on here and there, getting all the different perspectives. That's my favorite part, is getting everyone's perspective about different topics, because it also helps like enrich my own point of view, and maybe there's certain things I didn't consider or whatnot. So that's always the thing, and that's kind of what it's about, is like speaking to the gamer community and trying to help people like understand, because, you know, I was getting really frustrated today that Overwatch 2 is like what Overwatch 2 is becoming, and how that game I used to love is now like doesn't exist. It just literally doesn't exist anymore because Overwatch 1 and what that experience was has been completely gutted and revamped into this new form of game, and now it's turning into a microtransaction driven game where the entire original like point of this game is gone. For I I don't even understand if Blizzard's team has a vision. and I don't think there's a vision anymore. I don't think they care about what the game is, it as long as it's making money. So I think they've turned it from a game with a vision into, or just tried to change it into a microtransaction machine. And that's what most like free to play games and stuff become. Like some of them do play well. I'm not saying like maybe like on a purely technical ability. They play well because people clearly have different tastes. Like early access games are can be super jank, and people still enjoy them. But at least you may have spent like $20 or less, and then you get your fun out of it, and then you drop it. But for these games, like they're free, but they're filled with predatory microtransactions, and because a bunch of people dump money into them and other people make them successful, then it's just rippled throughout the industry that now every big company wants to create a low quality product just to make billions of dollars and exploit people and stop giving people content because that makes money. And it's so depressing because it's dragging everything else down in the industry, because every single one of these companies that isn't like an indie is going to always try and do less and less and less and less as long as it makes money, and there's enough people out there that make them profitable, that make everything else makes everything else not happen.
I used to be in the same boat and very anti-gambling, and I really kind of felt like, FIFA, it's, despite it being one of my more favorite games, like, it kind of sucks that there's microtransactions. But my opinion is completely flipped, and I don't give a shit no more after watching Mark Rober's video on YouTube, all about the carnivals and fairs and how all these kids' games that we've been playing for decades is such deep bullshit scam gambling attempts, basically targeted 100% at kids. These video games are, some kids and mostly adults, but like they're carnival games that are designed to be rigged, and we don't give a shit whatsoever about that. Like it's so brushed under the carpet, so I don't really care anymore. Like video game industry, do what you want. I mean, would definitely prefer less microtransactions, but that's not where the root of the problem is anymore in my eyes.
Well, no, it's not the root.
Oh,
I was going to say that the microtransactions aren't the root of the problem. It's obviously the people behind it being too greedy and not being held accountable, and then there not being regulation to stop them. Like that's the root of the problem. But it's just so sad because and it's not that I don't believe in quote unquote microtransactions, and I've had multiple conversations about free to play games, and I honestly, my opinion is like just because a game is free doesn't give it carte blanche to monetize however it wants, because, and in my opinion this is the point, just because it's free doesn't mean it can get away with anything, because if it is successful while being trash, it drags down everything, and that's exactly what we're seeing in the industry, is that this ripple effect of make trash and be exploitative, and people will spend millions and billions of dollars making it profitable, and then every other company tries to also be as trashy as possible, and the market eats it up, and it's just depressing because it's lowering the quality. Sure, more things are available for free, but you can eat out of the garbage, but that doesn't mean that food's ever going to be better than actual food. And learning to accept that only creates that apathy from it. So most of it is that corporate regulation needs to exist and should be stricter, and we need people in power that would actually hold people accountable. But the market itself is also people are apathetic, and I think that's the thing. I'm not blaming you particularly, Mark, but part of that attitude that you just voiced is there is an apathy here that even though there's people like us that notice this, see we're being taken advantage of, and don't spend our money, we are nothing because, and I talked about this with Ed on one of the episodes, so repeating a point here. We need to figure out how people like us can stop those other people who spend money. How does the person who has a good criticism of a product stop someone who's willing to spend $1,000 a week or a month on a game that's trashy for their own terrible reasons. Like products like that shouldn't be allowed to exist and shouldn't be able to exist for that. Now, I'm not saying like, necessarily. Well, it's the idea that there could be there could be tens of millions of people who don't play it, but as long as there's 1,000 people playing a game that spend $10,000 a month on that game, it will stay alive because the company is taking advantage of that, and they don't care about how many people are not playing it. Kind of like, or it's very funny, like the Diablo Immortal thing came up. I don't know if anyone's a Diablo fan here, but like the whole thing is that the one guy spent like $100,000 on it, and because of his gear, so he could no longer matchmake because he had he was too good. He had too good a class of character, so he couldn't get matchmade with anyone, and like that's disgusting. I think microtransactions make sense, but you shouldn't be allowed to do infinite microtransactions. Loot boxes are bad. Like you should always have to create some new type of content, and people should be able to unlock it by playing or buy it a la carte, and just perpetual. None of this like timed BS. None of these other battle pass seasonal event shenanigans where stuff gets unlocked. Like I don't even care if a la carte means that like they do a seasonal event where it's on. You could, if you play for free if you play during this time, you can unlock it for free without paying, and then it goes into the shop and it's going to cost like $30. I think it's still like the pricing's egregious. But as long as like you could buy something at any point in time for whatever amount of money and everything's available a la carte, and you don't have to worry about ever like paying for or any sort of randomized element to it, I could see that as a reasonable compromise. I just don't believe you should be able to coax infinite money out of people for literally no new content. You should always have to deliver something, and there should be a cap for how much people can actually spend on a game.
I'm going to create an app that's going to be called Virtual Pet Rock. And you're going to be able to like customize like all these different customizations, like different colors and stuff. It's going to be like $10 per like different design.
Hats.
I'm going to create a VR app called the Jump to Conclusions game. So that's going to be my VR app, and it'll like project squares on the floor in front of you, and you jump into them so you can jump to conclusions.
I like the Pet Rock idea better.
I didn't find something like that on Apple App Store. I'm looking right now. It looks like maybe a University of Florida thing. iRock. Interesting.
One person is going to be like listening to this episode, and they're going to create like the virtual pet rock, and they're going to make millions of dollars.
But like you could just go into Notepad and draw a rock, and then draw on the rock. Like that's, oh my god, yeah.
So there is a pet rock app. There is a pet rock app, and it looks like it's licensed. It's like trademark Pet Rock.
I think Pet Rock
only
is
$2.99. It's not a free to play
You
game.
call it something different.
Who owns the app? The Rock?
No, it's called Pet Rock.
Dwayne the
That's
Rock.
my joke, Ed.
Can you smell what
The
the
Rock Johnson.
Does the Rock cook? Because I need to know if I can smell it. Anyways, so we've got like 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes left, so we can start signing off, guys. This has been fun. Did anyone else have? Well, I'm going to go around the room. Mark had the most technical issues, so I'm going to toss to him. Mark, was there anything else you would like to say on the podcast today?
Aren't we going to go through our 2022 Game of the Year?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, mine and Paul's. I have Paul's. That's what I was trying to show you guys earlier. I'm glad I just remembered it. Paul and I both voted for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I was going to say which one.
The new one, not the Cowabunga collection, but the other one.
Shredder's Revenge. Nice.
Revenge, yeah.
Nice. That is a great game. Anything else, Mark, before we sign off today?
Oh, it's been enjoyable. A little bit sad, I think we're all a little emotional now.
All right, you got to stop that. We might actually get copyright strike. We were not monetizing, but I don't want to have to. If this episode just gets shut down, then we literally wasted all of our time.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
man.
it's been so off the rails. I think a lot of that is my fault, but it's been fun, enjoyable. It's been
No, it's good.
memorable connecting with each of you again.
We'll still be in touch, obviously, but just for the podcast. For now, its future is uncertain. All right.
I already deleted Mike and Ed from my phone.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I blocked you too.
I'm kidding, you guys.
All right. Thank you, Mark. And thank you for your contributions to the podcast in the past. All right, Mike, is there anything else you would like to say on the podcast today?
No, I had fun making the episodes I was in, and it would be cool if we still did like Game of the Year podcast, like at the end of the year or something like that. I don't know
This
if
is your
that's
last
like
chance. This is your last chance. What's your game of the year?
my Game of the Year. The year's not even
Pac-Man
over
World
yet.
Remaster.
Yeah,
Pac-Man
yeah,
World Remaster.
yeah. Repack, Pac-Man World Repack. The graphics phenomenal.
Ooh.
No, I mean, I have nostalgia for the original game, so it probably is my favorite game this year.
Does it do
pretty cool,
120
though.
FPS?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look at the tech specs. But yeah, no, this has been fun, and I always look forward to making podcasts.
Well, thank you, Mike, for all your contributions to the podcast over the last couple of years. Yeah, it's been fun, and we'll certainly be talking about video games going into the future. And we'll let you know if there's any more episodes. Mike and Mark, obviously, everyone will know from the original crew there. Ed, I toss to you for at least the foreseeable future final time. Any final thoughts for the podcast?
Well, I know you and I will still be arguing about stuff over iMessage at least. And I will say for the record, I am one of those people. I have the opposite opinion on free-to-play games. Make that money how you want. I'll buy the games I want. People can buy the games they want. That's my opinion, but I know that's an unpopular one, but that's mine.
But what if
And
the
I
next
will say-
Persona game just becomes a gotcha RTS on the phone?
They'll
Episodic.
probably make one of those.
An episodic
But
RTS.
I think they'll still make. I think they'll still make a new Persona 6. So,
No, but the way things go, they'll eventually never do it because it's not profitable.
You'll still have
It's not it's not as profitable.
I think as long as there is a market for premium games, and there are people like you and us who aren't going to buy free to play games, but will only buy those premium games, they're going to satisfy it. Maybe not every game is going to be to our liking, but I already have a million games I want to play. Like, I'm not hurting. But,
So you're saying you can wait?
Maybe that's short-sighted.
You can wait once every 10. You could be fine with Persona once every 10 years.
Yeah, because they're gonna put out like 40 Yakuza games every year, so I'll be sad.
Oh
But
man.
I will say projected game of the year winner, because it's probably going to be the only 2022 game I play this year, is Stray, the kitty game.
That's a good kitty game.
Better than Elden Ring, the Dark Souls of cat games.
I'm hoping it'll come to
Maybe
Steam
not.
soon, but I might bite the bullet and play it on PlayStation as well. There's the Neo: The World Ends With You still hasn't come to Steam, and neither has the Kingdom Hearts collection. And I don't know. I've started looking into piracy because I'm like, just so I have Kingdom Hearts on PC in a version that is not on Epic Game Store, because Epic's got to get its shit together.
This week's episode of Option Menu Crew brought to you by Piracy. Download any of your games for free via Piracy.
Yeah, I don't even know what like the pirate sites are these days because it's been so long since I did any of that.
Well, we're not going to discuss any of that here. Was there anything else, Ed?
No, I would just say thanks for convincing me to actually try the podcast. I remember early on, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it, and I'm glad I did.
Well, I'm glad you stuck with it. We've had some great conversations. I really appreciate all the time that you spent and all the help you did with hosting and sharing it. Once again, shout out to Nate for being here on episode 0. I forget if he was on another episode, but thanks, Nate. Thank you, Lawrence, for helping with the podcast. Thank you, Paul, for being on here with the podcast. Mike, thank you so much again. Mark, thank you so much again. Ed, thank you once again. Thank you to all our listeners who did listen to the current episodes as they came out. Anyone who discovers it in the future, we really appreciate you listening and giving it a shot. Hopefully, people share it with their friends, and maybe we'll do some episodes in the future. Not sure. I'm really attached to the name Option Menu Crew, and yeah, it's been a blast. Definitely still going to be playing video games, talking about video games, and probably thinking about, oh, is this worth an episode for years to come? The project always was to get a bunch of us together, talking specifically about video games and kind of hashing out the different issues. You'll hear this on a bunch of other podcasts, things like that. They're mostly all based on the news, and I just feel like we could really do that. We could really use some more voices talking and really drilling into the topics out there. So I guess if I was to say anything else, other than all the fun I had talking with you guys and really delving into the topics and kind of just achieving a little dream here, having a podcast with my friends for a bit and talking about stuff. I would just ask everyone to shop smarter. Make sure that make sure your money goes where you're really getting some value. Don't just settle for what's given to you. And if you're going to kind of settle, make sure you try before you buy. Don't get taken advantage of. Like, that gives them the power. Talk to your friends and family and try to, like, make sure people are not getting taken advantage of and explain to them, like, why something is not a great idea. There's plenty of ways to have fun out there, and it's getting easier and cheaper to have fun every day without going into playing exploitive games and microtransactions. So, yeah, everyone, have great lives, have fun, enjoy video games. It's super great. And I hope everyone is well until the next time.
Thank you, Birch.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ed. Say it one last time.
Bye forever.
We'll see you next time.
No, we
Test.
won't.
You hear me? Testing. 1 2
Hey,
1
you
2.
got it working finally.
And we're out!